All right, my friend Chad said that this would work. I'm willing to try anything at this point. I hope he's right. July 10th. You know what's going to be biting in SoCal, right? Hey, good Saturday morning, everybody. Getting ready for the MB, and it's a very active surf line. You don't see the pelicans hitting right now, but a moment ago, pelicans, birds picking, and a beautiful ocean. Man, it is absolutely gorgeous, and a lot to talk about today on the MB. We're going to find out if that bluefin tuna is back on the bite again. A tremendous score for the Amigo on white sea bass. There's a lot of great fishing going on in Southern California and northern Baja, California. And we're going to have it all for you. Let's get set up. Let's get to it. You know what time it is? It's almost time for the MB. Hey, good morning, my dear friends, and welcome to beautiful Surfside, California, this gorgeous Saturday morning. Just look at that ocean. It is beautiful, and it's been very, very active. Keep your eyes back there because pelicans have been hitting the water, birds have been picking. Looks like there could be some really good surf fishing today. Well, we've got a lot to cover with you all. We're going to go south of the border and check out the Royal Polaris. We'll also take a look at the coastal town in Mexico of Ensenada, see how they're doing down there in that neck of the woods. We're going to look at our bluefin tuna bite. The other night, it was very slow. Did it rebound and start to bite again? We'll have that for you. And the Amigo slams the white sea bass. Tremendous score there. More white sea bass taken up in the Channel Islands. And, of course, we've seen some very great yellowtail action at San Clemente Island. And some guys have even ventured out to Tanner and Cortez and come up with some fish. You know what time it is. It's time for the morning briefing. Good morning, my friends. Oh, my God, is that good? And is it great to be with you all? Thank you so much for stopping in here this beautiful Saturday. As I mentioned, it may be a little bit overcast, but it is flat gorgeous, and I can only imagine what throwing a chrome crocodile right here, right now, would bring. Got to be some yellowfin croaker and some other species. We'll get into the surf fishing here toward the end of the show, but right now, I got to tell you, there's some really great stuff going on and some other bites that really have taken a powder on us, but I believe it's temporary as this season, the 2024 season, both in northern Baja and southern California, has been plodding along slowly. It's been slow to manifest itself. We get these spurts of really great fishing, and they're followed by some slower fishing. Hey, don't forget to hit that like button. We deeply appreciate that. Subscribe to the Friedman Adventures YouTube channel and tick that little bell. You'll be notified when there's new content. Share these videos with a friend. And remember, you can also follow us on Facebook, on TikTok, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Instagram. We appreciate all the follows we get there, as that results in millions of more views for Friedman Adventures, all because of you. My friend Chad showed up to the sushi event at the Redondo Beach Rod and Gun Club with that albacore, and he said, "Philip, eat this, eat it." And they were surely come. So, Chad, I believe in you, man. We're hoping that those longfins show up. Conditions still look very good for an albacore run here in Southern California. I've been saying that for 3 or 4 years, and I've been wrong every single year. So what the heck? What's another year going down the tubes with you all? All right, let's get into it with you because we got so much to talk about. The Royal Polaris on a multi-day trip down the Baja coast with some really outstanding fishing. I mean, they've had a mix of fish they've been catching. Really superior grade yellowtail, excellent yellowtail action going on the RP. They've also caught some yellowfin tuna down there. They had a pargo. They had some grouper, Really excellent fishing, especially, however, on the yellowtail. Now the Royal Polaris is motoring their way up to the bluefin tuna zone, trying to see if they can't get a bluefin bite. So we'll be watching them and everybody else very, very closely to see if they can't pull a rabbit out of the hat on this bluefin tuna. And I'll be into the bluefin tuna in a moment. Have a lot of information to convey to you all. Now, let's go 70 miles south of the border down to the beautiful coastal town of Ensenada, Baja California Norte, where there has been some really great fishing. However, the bluefin tuna fishing has been off here recently. There's been a few fish scratched here and there, but overall, it's been very, very tough fishing for the bluefin tuna, and it's been that way for daytime fish just about all season long. So most of the guys out of Ensenada are pangueros or, six packs, and they fish during the daylight hours. The better bluefin bite overall has been at night this year. So they've got to make some catches happen in the daytime, and that has been a chore, to say the very least. So the guys out of there offshore, a lot of times they'll find those big bonita, 5 to 12 plus pound bonito, and every once in a while that bluefin tuna will bite. They take most of their fish down there in Ensenada offshore, trolling Mad Mac type lures. However, they do roll up on foamers and breezers to fish from time to time, and you're able to throw something like a Daiwa Sakana lure or a Colt Sniper in the middle of a foamer or just some breezing fish and get a bite. And also poppers are pretty effective from time to time down there. However, it has been difficult. We've seen a little bit better influx of kelp patty yellowtail, not wide open, not full speed, but seen a little bit more here recently. And it's been nicer grade yellowtail. I mean, the small ones have been 5 to 8 pounds, but you don't see a whole lot of that. You see mostly 8 to 12 to 15 pounds, some even exceeding 20 pounds on the kelp. So if you do see a kelp, you definitely want to check that out. And if you're on a panga down there in Ensenada, you've got these captains who work so hard and they are scanning the horizon and they are looking all the time, but become part of that. Get your eyeballs out there. You take a direction. You're looking starboard. Your buddy's looking port, and let the captain of your panga do his thing. He'll be scanning everywhere, but you just might be able to help out and find one of those lucky kelps. So keep that in mind. I would definitely not throw a jig down there in Ensenada with anything less than 40 pound, and I think that's silly. I would go 60 pound. If you do get on that bluefin tuna, while most of it's been 20 to 60 pounds, every once in a while you get into that 100 plus pound stuff and you hook one of those on 40 and you've got your hands full. In addition to looking for bluefin tuna, as we mentioned, that big bonita is still around. And then when you get inshore, man, there's some really good fishing. In fact, we had such a good time with Paulina the other day. There's that roving yellowtail, very close to home, maybe a 15-minute run, and you're in the zone where you're looking for those bird schools of sizable yellowtail, anywhere from 12 to 20 plus pound forkies running around there. You get up under the birds and you run and gun on those fish, and that is an absolute ball. You got to be ready with your iron, and when the captain rolls up on him, you throw it, take a couple winds, and pray to God that one of those big yellows engulf your lure, because there's nothing more fun than that. Really, really fun stuff on that local yellowtail. Not wide open, but you can get a trip in with 6, 7, 8 yellows, and then you can miss entirely. But if you do miss, there's some good sand bass and calico bass. There's been some flurries of barracuda, and you have the rockfish to back you up. So pretty good fishing down there for our friends in Ensenada. We love it down in that neck of the woods. Hey, don't forget, Kids Fish Free out of Ventura Sport Fishing tomorrow on the Island Spirit. Kids 12 years and under get to go for free with a paid adult. 805-676-3474. And the El Patron is sold out this weekend, but they've got some room on Monday's trip. And Catalina Island just keeps getting better and better and better. We'll have news on that a little bit later on the morning briefing. But I'm telling you, the El Patron going Monday, limited load out of Long Beach Sport Fishing, www.longbeachsportfishing.org. Get on the El Patron. All right, let's get into the bluefin tuna. The other night, it was putrid. It was very, very slow for the entire fleet. So many of the guys made a move up into this neck of the woods. Well, quite a bit further out there, but up towards San Clemente Island and even a little bit west of, or I should say, yeah, west of that area. They're starting to move out almost towards Santa Barbara Island, where that big bluefin tuna that we showed you the other day on board the Amigo is manifesting itself once again. There has been a few fish taken in the daylight hours, and they're all big. They're all over 100, many of them over 150, some over 200 pounds. Some kite fish or some of the long range boys who have been up in that neck of the woods, like the Independents. They've been up there and scratched out a few fish up there in that neck of the woods. But trying to get a daytime bite has been very, very difficult. No question about it at all. Now, I checked in with my good friend Max on board the Highliner. Max is an awesome crew member on the Highliner, and the Highliner's been doing a great job. He said it was improved the last night, not wide open, but improved fishing on board the Highliner. They had 19 bluefin tuna last night, and that fish was in the 40 to 60 pound class. We saw boats last night that missed entirely. I see some boats here with 2, 3 fish, 15 fish, 21 fish, scores like that, not wide open, but trying to rebound a little bit, and hopefully it's going to get back on the bite. The weather's gorgeous. You couldn't ask for more gorgeous weather than we have right now. It may get a little breezy toward the afternoon today, but overall it's going to be very, very nice. That is not a problem at all. High hopes that it's going to continue to head in the right direction. The Freedom back into 22nd Street Landing on a day and a half trip. 2 bluefin, 17 yellowtail, 23 bonita offshore, looking for that bluefin tuna. But right now it is down, or in between down and acting like it wants to rebound, and hopefully it's going to get on a bite. Now, I mentioned 22nd Street Landing and the Freedom because this fish is an easy day and a half range. It's in 1 day range, but you need that day and a half to get the night bite. So keep that in mind. Hopefully we're going to continue to head in the right direction on this bite. Remember, you're going to have, everybody, you got to have, if you want a fly line in the daytime, 40 pound is probably what you want to use, but 80 pound sinker rig fishing is another thing that you should have with you. And when you're night fishing, 100 pound spectra is about perfect. And you want to have a variety of jigs in terms of the weight that you're fishing those jigs, the grams that you're fishing. 350 seems to be the weight this year. It's been working really well. Smaller profile jigs seem to be working best. HD jigs from West Coast Jiggers, SK Lures by Daiwa. There's several other ones, smaller profile, heavier, that sink down fast. So 350 grams. I wouldn't leave my 400 or 500 gram jigs at home. You just never know. But it seems like most of the fish have been at about 250 feet. You're going to listen to the captain. When he tells you to drop, you're going to do it immediately, and you're going to get down to the depth he's talking about. A lot of guys like to drop to 300 if he says 250. Some guys will drop to 350, and you have to watch your scope. If you see your line going out, if you see that happening, when you drop 240, you're not at 240 feet with that scope. So you can't go wrong by going a little too deep. You can go wrong by not going far enough. So keep that in mind. Wind hard and hook one of those babies here this evening, and we wish you all the very, very best. Hey, do you still have unfiled taxes? What's wrong with you? When we have a Friedman Adventures family member, Tim Marquez. I'm telling you, Tim does it better than anyone. A best income tax at your service. Give Tim a call today. And for heating and or air conditioning needs, nobody better than John Lopez at Efficient Heating and Air Conditioning. It's that time of the year when you need your air con. John Lopez at Efficient Heating and Air Conditioning. The full day boats out of San Diego have the same dilemma that the Ensenada guys have. They're fishing daylight hours. They leave in the morning, they come back in the evening, and they have been running in to some slower bluefin tuna fishing. Overall, we've seen the occasional spurt on bluefin tuna, and so many of the fish are so large that when you do hook them, it's hard to hang on to them. San Diego, the Liberty, the Grande, all those guys occasionally will pick a bluefin tuna, catching some of that big bonita, catching a few kelp patty yellowtail, but overall it has been a struggle so far this year, and it remains that way. You still have to go tackled up like that 40-pound fly line, that 80-pound to fish sinker rigs with, and 100-pound spectra if you're going to drop a jig down in the daylight hours. But most of the time, you're going to be throwing a jig like that Daiwa Zakana or the SK or the Zakana or a jig like that you're going to throw on those foamers of fish. Been very difficult during the daylight hours. Hopefully, that's all going to change here very, very soon. We'll continue to watch that for you very, very closely. All right, let's talk islands. Coronado Islands, we see some pretty fair yellowtail action going on down there. Not wide open, but a few yellows and good calico bass fishing. You want to fall back on rockfish. That has not been a problem at all. Up here at San Clemente Island. Hey, should we say good morning to Lupe? Buenos dias, Lupe. We've seen some good yellowtail action. Now, most of the guys are in Pyramid Cove. When they get their live squid, they're dropper loop fishing. It's been a bite that shows up from like 5 in the morning till like 7 in the morning. That's the window of opportunity at San Clemente Island. So you're dropper looping. You do not want to dropper loop with less than 60 pound Thunderbird 40 yellowtail on their most recent trip, hanging some fish here this morning. Again, they're big, they're tough. There's a lot of fish that get up to over 30 pounds, some over 40 pounds, like fishing Guadalupe Island. So you're dropper looping 8-ounce torpedoes, sometimes even heavier than that. And man, I'll tell you, when those things slam your bait, your live squid, it's something, man. It's a big thud, and it's so much fun. So again, some big yellows, but that window is short. It is very, very short. And then after that, you wander around the island. There's been some superior calico bass fishing. There's some sheepshead and rockfish, that kind of stuff. And also there's some yellows around, a lot of 10 to 20 pound stuff, it seems like, in the daytime. And those fish, if you have enough live squid, will bite that, of course. But they also transition over and seem to bite the sardine a little bit better. They have been, in the daylight hours, the yellows that is, a little bit on the finicky side. So you're going to have to watch that very, very closely and maybe drop down to some 20-pound fluorocarbon to get the job done. And they're not too far from the Bluefin Tuna zone. So on your way home, keep your eyes open. You never know. You might come up on one of those foamers that at least is fun to watch, and you may even get a bite on some of that stuff. So once again, we'll watch that very closely for you all. White sea bass starting to get more and more in the picture here from our local islands, from Catalina Island, really starting to kick up its heels. Good to see that, by the way. Santa Barbara Island, some sea bass at Clemente, not a lot, but a little bit. And the Amigo yesterday, what a trip for Captain Mark Paisano Jr. on board the Amigo as they slam 40 white sea bass. That is an exceptional score. They had it rocking and rolling on board the Amigo yesterday, and that was for 14 anglers. That is really great fishing and a huge hit for the Amigo out of 22nd Street Landing in San Pedro, California. They do have some open party trips this week. You'd be wise to jump on board. That crew on the Amigo, second to none. It's such a great boat. So much fun to fish. 310-832-8304 to get on board the Amigo. Hey, I need a sip of this. Excuse me. Hey, so really great hit there. The Pride had 13 white sea bass on a recent trip. Nothing wrong with that. And so we are definitely starting to see more and more of that sea bass. At Catalina Island, there's been white sea bass. There's been some good calico bass fishing. That's starting to get better and better and better. Pursuit with a good steady bite on the calico bass. They also had a yellowtail. There's some yellow zooming around there. There's a whole mix of fish, you know, the 3Bs, the bass, bonita, barracuda, picking at that stuff. Still some rockfish if you need that. But cat is starting to kick up its heels a little bit and looking better and better all the time. There's some pretty good action going on, and the possibility of a white sea bass or a halibut bite, excuse me, looms large right now, and we'll keep our eyes on that for you very, very closely. Hey, the guys from LA City and LA County Fire were out recently, and I think it was their 25th annual competition between one another. I mean, first of all, Andy Ruiz and all the guys from LA Fire, County, and City, we take our hats off to you. We thank you so very much for your service. Anyway, all the benefits go to burn victims from their competition, and they had a great one here recently. A 37.6-pound yellowtail caught on board the Thunderbird, took the competition. So LA County Fire has bragging rights for a year, but most importantly, they raise funds for burn victims, and they're out there laying their lives on the line for each and one of us. Keep them in mind, not only today, but even on the 4th of July when we celebrate our independence and we celebrate fine men and women like the people from LA Fire, City, and County. Man, we love you guys. Thank you so very much. All right, so some pretty good fishing going on there. Let's move you up to the Channel Islands where there's some more white sea bass starting to show up. Also, we're starting to see more and more of it. The Endeavor's been seeing a lot. The other day on the island, Spirit out of Ventura, they saw schools of fish swimming around. Aloha Spirit with 9 white sea bass yesterday. The Gray Light with 8 white sea bass yesterday. We continue to see more and more evidence of that WSB, and that is got us headed in the right direction right now. In addition to that, there's some outstanding rock fishing going on. We've seen tremendous lingcod fishing for many of the boats up there. Great big reds. It's been outstanding fishing. And there's been some good hits on the halibut, but it just feels like we're starting to see this sea bass thing come into play right now. Not only here at Catalina, at San Clemente, at Santa Barbara, but up there in the Channel Islands. Will today be the day when it goes and bites and keeps biting consistently? That has been the whole theme of 2024, the inconsistency of these bites. They seem to have so much potential, like they're gonna go, and then the foot comes off the gas and we're left wondering, like, what happened there, man? It looked like it was going to be wide open, but still some pretty good stuff going on up and down the coast. All right, so we'll continue to watch this island situation as it continues to look pretty good to us. Also, don't forget, if you want to order anything from Promar Ahi, go to promarahi.com and you put in FA at checkout, Friedman Adventures, FA. You get 10% off anything you purchase, whether it's a lure or a hoop net or a gaff, anything. Put in FA at checkout when you visit promarahi.com. All right, let's talk about what's going on along the beach here. And I'm talking 1/2 and 3/4 day boats down there. The new Seaforth and other boats out of San Diego continue with their torrid calico bass fishing. It's really been pretty good. Sometimes it's a morning pick with a good afternoon bite, and the twilight fishing's been outstanding. Can't go wrong if you drop your fluorocarbon down to 15 and you choose a good hot bait on calico bass. That makes all the difference in the world. There's been a few barracuda and occasional yellowtail or white sea bass up here from, let's say, Dana Wharf. They're picking at the bass, sculpin, whitefish, rockfish, that kind of thing. Up here, as we move you up to San Pedro, Long Beach, picking at a few bass, but a lot of sculpin and whitefish and rockfish. It's been slow to come together this year, but slowly but surely we're getting there. I'm hoping for a barracuda bite on a day like this when it's absolutely gorgeous. Santa Monica Bay, good twilight bass fishing on the new Del Mar, picking a few bass during the daytime out of Redondo. My friend Tom Durr running the Pescador had a couple of bass here recently, said conditions are improving all the time. They've been off a little bit, but the Pescador running 3/4 day trips out of Redondo sport fishing with Tom Durr, who is just a great guy and one heck of a good fisherman. And then up in the Channel Islands, their local bite, picking at the bass and the barracuda. And when I say picking, they're getting a few fish here and there. Every once in a while, a good hit, but once again, the lack of consistency. That has been the theme, as I mentioned to you, about 2024. We'll continue to watch that for you very closely, and hopefully it's going to kick into gear here very, very soon. A little bit later today, we're going to drop our Apollo video, and man, that was a great trip. I think the best northern boat score, even up until today, that's been had. We were just under 40 big bluefin tuna. That was a great trip. And you will love this video because you'll see Oscar tutor one of the anglers on exactly how to pull on a fish. You'll meet Captain Ryan Block as he explains many of the best techniques to catch these bluefin tuna. And you'll see some torrid action with fish to up over 150 pounds. One of those 150 pounders, Captain Ryan Block, puts a gaff in its head perfectly. I'm waiting for him to call for a second gaff, and he just throws that baby on board by himself. Pretty impressive. The Apollo video coming out a little bit later today. You're not going to want to miss that. Check it out. I know you're going to enjoy that. All right, so pretty much hoping for some more surface action on our local scene over the vast geographical area, over most of the zone that we're talking about. San Diego seems to be the exception on the calico bass fishing down there. Surf fishing, as I mentioned, it can't get any more lovely. I don't know if you've seen birds picking or pelicans. I don't see it really going on right now, but they were very active when I first came out here this morning, and that was looking really, really good. Throwing a little chrome jig is a good way to catch a halibut or a yellowfin croaker. It works really, really well, but those lucky craft lures will also result in a few halibut, and we've seen some spot fin croaker on the bait. Now, I have some guys that regularly fish here. You very well know what I'm talking about, and I haven't seen them for a while, so they're off somewhere else right now. Perhaps down there around Dog Beach, Huntington Beach. There's been some good fishing down there. There's sand crabs now in the surf. You catch those sand crabs. They're really great natural bait that's endemic here to Southern California, and also digging in the sand up where the high tide would be, you can find sandworms. They're up there because they feed on the grunion eggs, and grunion, of course, come up when there's extreme high tides, lay their eggs, and that's what those sandworms are on. You dig those sandworms up, and you can catch some nice, beautiful spot fin croaker as well as corvina, which are starting to bite better and better right now. And don't forget big fish, bait and tackle down there, 5-minute walk from here at the corner of Seal Beach Boulevard and Pacific Coast Highway. They've got all your bait needs. They've got all your tackle needs. They've got everything you'll need from freshwater fishing right on up to big bluefin tuna. And they also have that monthly contest. All you have to do is walk in the door, buy their ruler, and use that ruler to measure your fish and upload your photos and videos. They'll explain that all to you. But you buy the ruler and you're in the contest for the rest of the year. And every single month, they give away a gorgeous custom fishing rod to the winner of the biggest fish. Sometimes it's a halibut like this month. Sometimes it'll be a corvina. You're in that very special tournament every single month, free of charge after you purchase the ruler. So keep that in mind. All right, my friends, we're going to continue to watch this for you very closely. Apollo video coming up shortly. Don't miss that. We'll watch everything in between for you. See if this bluefin tuna wants to get a little more active. And can the Apollo do it again? What a hit. 40 white sea bass. That is absolutely tremendous. We'll be watching it today for you very, very closely. And of course, if anything else happens, we'll let you know. Thank you so much for visiting. Appreciate you taking time out of your busy day. And as always, I hope to see you really, really soon.